it too.
Yeah, it was a hard ask for him, and it was probably my fault for throwing him in the deep end yesterday. But I'd been very happy with him, and his condition was good. He was just a bit fresh beforehand and in the race at the beginning, and he stayed on okay.
And if you have a horse who has had a lot of issues, and he bled again yesterday, to have an understanding owner like Sheikh Issa who appreciates what he's given him must help a little bit, must soothe the wound a little bit for you.
Well, we had a momentous season last year, really, and to win the Bahrain Champion Stakes in Ireland was absolutely fantastic. And so, we had a golden moment, and he's a seriously good horse. He really is. And, we were so lucky to have him. And he came from nowhere. As a 2-year-old, he just looked a big backward horse, and then he really sprouted wings. He is just a very good horse.
I know this is not something you particularly want to dwell on, but I do want to ask you about the effort on the part of your team and your staff that goes into getting a horse who is of that quality back to a racecourse to have his first run in a year, and that kind of labour of love.
Yeah, I mean, we have a terrific team, and everyone put their heart and soul into him. And, he was in really good condition yesterday, and it took a long time, a lot of patient effort from everyone. And I'm just the person that fronts it all, but led by Maureen and our physio, who's fantastic, and all our head people. They really sort of got involved and indulged in a great horse. He's a really good horse, and I don't think you've seen the best of him either.
And, sadly, we're unlikely ever to see.
Well, we'll see. I haven't spoken to His Highness Sheikh Issa at length at all. Just briefly, he couldn't make it yesterday. And I will be talking to him in the next few days, and we'll make a plan thereafter.
And it sounds like he's a very kind horse, so whatever he does, he has a job to do.
Yeah, he has. I hope he has a life too, but you never know what it might be.
Okay. I can see how much he means to you.
There we go. Disappointing day yesterday, Nick.
And that's it, isn't it? Yeah. Racing doesn't always give you exactly what you want, but you've had enough highs to understand the lows and enough lows to understand the highs.
Yeah, it started in Australia in the morning, actually, to be fair, because we got up at 2:45 in the morning to watch one at 3:05, who was a bit disappointed the ground was too firm for him, and then we waited for Lake Forest, and things didn't go right for him, and then we get to Ascot, and Division ran okay, Monteciv wasn't soft enough, and Economics ran okay, and then fortunately we ended up okay, and then we went to stay with the Baldings, who were on a high after Calpana had bolted up in the fillies and mares, so it was a long day yesterday.
Yeah. But you did win the final race with Crown of Oaks.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a more important final race on a race day to sort of slightly lift your mood at the end of it?
I found the last race really frightening, really. Well, not frightening, that's the wrong word, but we were drawn 23 and 19. We had 2 runners. Godwinson ran as well, who's a hold-up horse. And anyone who saw the mile saw that trap 1 beat trap 2.
Yes.
So I had this vision that everyone was going to go to the far side, which was clearly seemed to be the place to be. And so
and then this happened.
Well, I said to Tom, we'll have to stay. I went round trying to find people who were drawn with us to come with us. And Ed Walker's horse came with us, and that's us at the back there with Godwinson, and George Bowie's horse came with us, drawn 22. And remarkably, after a furlong, the rest of the field came with us. So then it was a different game completely.
You must have been thinking, well, we're in here, we've got perfect track position.
I'm still baffled as to why they did that. And then the third horse, EBT's Guard, was drawn 1. So presumably if he'd gone over, they would have gone with him. Yeah. I suppose nothing wanted to lead, but you'd think with 23 runners, something would lead.
Well, the dead heaters, EBT's Guard and the Holloway Boy, who were dead heating for second, they were in 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And you were in 23.
That's right. So you worked that one out. Anyway, I couldn't, and I'm still pretty baffled by it. But I'm delighted, because this horse is a useful horse, and he went up 15 for winning at Ascot. And I thought that was too hard for him, but actually clearly not. And he got the run of the race, and he was canny, Tom. He rode a nice race. Just let him do his own thing, and it just beats me why they came with us. But there you go.
And I know it's one thing to say, oh, you might have 10, 12, 14 pounds in hand if he ends up being a top-level horse, but you've still got to have a horse who, out in front, wants to keep driving for you when he keeps getting challenged, and he kept just pulling out and pulling out and pulling out.
Absolutely, and that was a stiff mile, and you know, a mile and a quarter, he won. The race he went up 15 was over a mile and a quarter, so he's clearly happy at both distances. I think mile and a quarter will probably end up being his better trip. So anyway, we were delighted to finish with a winner.
Did you see Patrick Veach on the programme a few weeks ago? I don't know if you caught him.
Well, I find it difficult. I shouldn't say this in front of Dave, but I'm not a beard man, really, and he's grown a beard, Patrick, so I try and look at him as little as possible.
Well, you don't watch people who have got beards. Well, that must narrow down your TV.
Especially now.
Complain about it. Unfortunately, his girlfriend...
You and me are about the only people who don't have beards on TV at the moment.
There you go, but his girlfriend likes it, so we're snookered at the moment.
Likes his beard?
Yeah.
OK. So that's it.
But he's a very wise man.
He is a wise man, and he, with Tony Bloom and Ian McAlevey, this partnership that they've got going, that's been amazingly productive this season with your guidance.
Well, we've had a bit of luck. We've had a bit of luck, but they've got a runner today for Rafe in France, and he's getting it right. And but they're very, very straightforward to train for. There's no interference at all. And you can just get on with it, give your views. Patrick's sort of running it from behind the scenes, but he doesn't interfere with the training, ever. He just, you know, you give him an idea of what you think you've got, and then he watches it, and, you know, he's always believed that Crown of Oaks is a useful horse, so it's interesting. It's come good.
Is their strike rate of good horses to horses bought as good as it appears to us?
Seemingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, seemingly.
And what's the knack?
I don't know. But if I did know, I wouldn't tell you probably. But
no, I rather got the feeling when he was coming on. I tried to get it out of him, but I wasn't.
No, you've got no chance.
No.
No chance. But he's a smart guy.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. It wasn't to be for economics in the Champion Stakes, but it was one hell of a race, won by a really good horse. Let's enjoy it again. David, to what extent do you think that day needed this from Calandigan at this point?
Yeah, I think it needed it very badly. I think most of us wrote that Calandigan had restored order to chaos and credibility to the returns section of the newspapers. And after a 100 and 200 to 1 winner, then an Ascot specialist trained by a very charismatic Frenchman who spoke glowingly about the aesthetic of watching the race was exactly what we needed. I'm very old school in reporting. I find it very, very hard not to lead on the biggest race of the day. If you've got a brilliant race like this and a naked man runs on the track during the 2-year-old race and wins, then there will be people in the office who will say, well, that's a better story. A naked man won that race rather than Calandigan winning the Champion Stakes. And I really like to lead with the big race of the day. But the shocks yesterday meant that it was No Hopers Day rather than Champions Day. And I'm afraid Calandigan had to lead the second bit in the Sunday Mirror, which was a shame, really, because he's a magnificent horse. And tactically, the pacemaker's hair off, and the first two are at the back of the field at the moment.
They are. Calandigan and Ombudsman's just behind him, slipstreaming him through. Delacroix's just in front of them, not maybe moving quite as smoothly as he did in the Irish Champion Stakes, and briefly short of Roman Almacam's done best of those up with the pace. William, it struck me after the race that we would see the winner, the second and the third all coming back next year if things go to plan.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't really know, but it'll be great for racing. It won't be great for Somerville Lodge Limited to have to take these horses on. But what a season Francis Graffard has had! Absolutely amazing, and it's quite bizarre. Now His Highness the Aga Khan has passed away. What a great year their stable have had. Obviously winning the Arc and now winning with Calandigan. And it was exactly the same when Sheikh Hamdan died. Sheikh Ahissa and Shadwell took over and won everything, seemingly. And so this is terrific. I mean, that's a really good horse. He looked great yesterday. and he just got first run on Ombudsman, and Ombudsman couldn't get him, but he won with great authority, I thought.
Let's hear from the winning trainer. He spoke yesterday at Ascot.
Francis, what a sensational performance by Calandagan. We're all blown away by that. How does it feel for you?
I love watching this. Really, it's a thrill. You're always a little bit stressed when you compete in these races like that. You don't want to look like a fool, but he's a very talented horse. I was worried about the tactic of the race and where we will find ourselves during the running. But he's getting in stronger and stronger. He loves his game, so when he starts to stride in the straight, and Ombudsman was trying to challenge him, he was not catchable.
No. He's got an amazing turn of foot, hasn't he? And he sustains it all the way to the line. He's so strong.
He is, and on ground like that, I think he's maturing, and we know him well. His jockeys knows him well. We have a lot of confidence in him. And he's a very good horse.
You've got a lot of nice horses at the moment. I mean, the Arc, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, Darius was fabulous. Today is another special day. What a year.
The season has been incredible, and we were saying with Michael Barzalona on the podium that it's going to be tough next year because we start to enjoy being on the podium, you know. Yeah, but look, we have been blessed with very nice horses. The team at home works really hard, and it's everything. The planets were aligned this year, so it all worked well. So next year we will do the same job, and hopefully we will be lucky again.
Well, I hope so. I hope that Calandagan we see him for many, many more years, being a gelding, of course. And of course, you mentioned that you prepared Darius's Arc run with the help of Calandagan.
Yes, I needed Calandagan to be fit for today, and I needed in my gallop I needed like a good horse to take on Darius a little bit, and so the two horses finished strongly together. It was interesting because Calandagan was laughing. It's in the morning, everything is easy for him. So looking back, it was a gallop with an Arc winner and a Champion Stakes winner. So it's fabulous.
Enjoy these golden moments, Francis, and many congratulations.
I might retire at the end of the year. It would make my life easier. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Francis Graffard talking to Mike Catamol yesterday at Ascot. This is Calandagan in glorious isolation again. I was speaking to Mikel Barzalona, William, earlier in the week, and he said, yeah, one clear run. He's a flair horse rather than a horse you want to get in some sort of ding-dong with, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a good horse. I mean, he won the King Edward a couple of years ago. Really impressive, and he came from nowhere, and nobody had heard of him. And that was the start of his run, and he's a really smart horse now.
David, for Mikel Barzalona, this is a really important alliance now. It was a bit of a surprise when he was announced as first jockey to the Aga Khan stable last year, but an Arc, a Champion Stakes, and so many good horses coming through.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity for him, isn't it? A jockey that, well, he's no longer a young kid. When did he win the Derby?
2011, I think it was.
And there was the celebration on Port Moi. And this is, as you say, I mean, in the space of, 13 days, he's won an Arc on Darius and a Champion Stakes on Calandagan. And as William said, you know, that the Aga Khan studs now seem to be having that sort of, you can't call it a resurgence because they've always been there, but to win two of Europe's signature Group 1s with two different horses, you know, and there is the promise of better to come. It's clearly a really rich vein seam that they're tapping into now.
It struck me, even in the time when the French trainers weren't winning much, the French record on Champions Day has been outstanding. To what extent do you think that owes something to the way that horses are prepared in France?
I have no idea about that, but I think French racing is on and up. I mean, they're quite difficult to beat in France now, whereas a few years ago, I'm not saying they were easy pickings, but they weren't as difficult as they are now. There are some smart people in France, and they're strong. They're really strong at the moment.
And good young trainers as well.
Absolutely,
good.
But don't forget Monsieur Fabre. He's pretty useful too.
No one forgets Monsieur Fabre.
But he's pretty useful. But
and the legacy goes on because his daughter Lavinia is going to join him on the licence next year.
Yeah. I read. Yeah.
What do you think has made him what he's been?
I don't know. I don't know him well enough to answer that question. But I think most people call him Monsieur Fabre. I think that says enough, doesn't it? I think he holds great respect from certainly our profession, and probably Dave's profession too. He's won everything so many times. It's unbelievable. But he doesn't speak to people like you much. And
he's actually good with people like us. Well, it's the French journalists who he doesn't speak to.
Yeah, but he just gets on with his business, and he can produce a horse from anywhere. He's world class.
He is one of the few people I am genuinely in awe of, though. When I do ring him, I'm always a little bit nervous of saying the wrong thing.
He's never rude. He's never gushing. When you ask him a question, you can feel that the cogs are whirring in this amazing computer between his ears before he gives a reply. And I'm the same as you. There aren't many people that I ring up and I think, oh, really? You're sort of trembling when you hold the phone. But he's definitely in that category.
He did once say to me, and he was really kind the way he said it as well. He said, I don't mean to be rude in any way, but that's probably one of the stupidest questions I've ever been asked. And I was like, trembling for the rest of the call.
I don't know what the cause of that. If you search online for the reason for the fallout between himself and the French racing media, I don't know what it is, but
maybe
it still goes.
Runs deep. Yeah. Runs deep. There you are. We digress. We have digressed. It was a notable digression, but we did indeed. Charlie Hills won the QE2 yesterday. Biggest price winner of the QE2 in history. 100-1. Cicero's gift. Stall 1 beat Stall 2. The Lion in Winter. The 5th, 6th and 7th all made sense. Field of Gold, Rosalie and Never So Brave. I'm not sure how the rest of it makes any sense. William, what did you make of this? Is it a draw race? Is it just that the principals have had a long season, interrupted season, underperformed? What are we to make of it?
I really don't know the answer to that, Nick. It was extraordinary. Nobody saw that coming. I mean, the favourites were sort of racing towards the stand side. Whether that ground was a bit slower in the middle, I don't know. But none of them shone. And the winner and the second were drawn 1 and 2. Docklands raced towards the far side. He finished 4th and ran another mighty race. It's just one of those things. But what it was a great result for Charlie. They've had a torrid year, obviously with Barry passing away, and things haven't gone great for Charlie this year. So what a way to finish, and hopefully next year that will springboard for a good season next year.
Yeah, you'd have had to have a heart of stone not to be pleased for him. And it didn't look that likely here, Dave, did it?
No, it didn't. As you say, William, as you observe, you've got Rosalie, Tamfana, Field of Gold, Facteur Cheval, Never So Brave, in about those 5 track lanes there, haven't you, on the outside? The funny thing about this race and the result is that if you say to someone there was a 200-1 winner of the British Champions Sprint, they'd say, yeah, I'm not being clever after the event.
This was a bigger surprise, wasn't it?
They're all sort of much of a muchness.
Yeah.
If you say there was a 100-1 winner of this race, even though it's half the odds and statistically therefore mathematically twice as likely, with those 8 Group or Grade 1 winners in the 16-runner field, people would say, "Oh, come on, who?" Because even the horses that the Smart Alex were putting up as the each-way contenders against the favourites.
Out the back. Yeah.
No one considers Cicero's gift. And again, when we're blessed to write and broadcast about horse racing, and if you're not talking about equine excellence, which you are in the case of Calandagan, then you can go for the human interest stories. As you say, a really rough year for Charlie Hills and his family, and a resurgent victory for Jason Watson 6 years after his last Group 1.
Well, let's hear from the winning jockey. He spoke to Mike yesterday.
Are you surprised?
Look, you have to be at that price coming into a race of that calibre, and I think it was a proper class race for the day. And look, all I can say is the team at home know this horse so well. Charlie knows this horse so well. Nicola, I can't thank her enough. She looks after him, rides him out every day, and she has said this whole year it's been a lot better for him, and he's just been in great order. And I want to say, put a mention out to Barry Hills, who obviously we lost early on in the season, and I can't help but think he was looking down today.
Well, it's wonderful that Penny is here today to watch Charlie saddle Cicero's Gift. But tell us about the run beforehand at Sandown. His prep run was in heavy ground, Jason, wasn't it? Did you think then that he'd be coming here with a decent chance of running well?
I thought it had been a while since he had won, and he'd been running consistent before that win at Sandown. And I think that he had every right to be in this race, but how competitive we were going to be, and we were sort of looking for a little bit more rain. He's not a horse that necessarily needs it, but it just helps a few of the others slow down a bit quicker, you know.
And when did you think you had the race in the bag?
I knew when I made my challenge about 2 down and we were starting to make up ground, I'd hoping that I hadn't gone too soon on him, but he sees out the mile well, and look, it's just unbelievable.
Fantastic. Well, many congratulations. A huge win for you, Jason. Great stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jason Watson, as David was saying, 6 years since his last win at this level, but his biggest day in the saddle. And William, it's quite interesting to see a rider who was very, very promising early. So started with the Moors and then had his spell at Kingsclear and now kind of rebuilding, re-establishing his connections.
I think he also went to Roger Charlton.
Yeah, he did.
Time, and then it just didn't happen for him, and then he was in the doldrums for ages. But he's really worked hard, and he's riding, you know, on a Saturday he's at Redcar or somewhere out of the limelight and riding 2 or 3 winners. He's done really well. He's always been a strong jockey, and I'm delighted for him. And I know he spends a lot of time with Andrew Baldings now, and clearly getting on well, so well done him.
Yeah, well done to Jason Watson, who won the QE2 yesterday on Cicero's Gift, 100 to 1, but twice those odds, and the biggest prize Group 1 winner in European racing history was Powerful Glory, trained by Richard Fahey and ridden by that man, Jamie Spencer. How many times has he produced a piece of magic up Ascot's straight track? This was a little bit special. Take him back out of the stalls, take him out of the heat of the battle, have a view of everything. Spencer just seems to have all the time in the world, William, doesn't he?
Well, he comes under a lot of criticism, Jamie, because when it goes wrong, you know, he looks terrible, but he's really good rider, especially on that straight track at Ascot. He waits, he lets everything evolve, and then he tries, sort of like riding them for third, and then tries to just nick it, and he does it time and time again still. And he's never in a hurry early.
You see where Lazat is, red cap, about 7 from the left of shot, right in the front rank. Jamie Spencer, yellow colours, about 7 from the right of shot, beginning to make a move. And he must be able to see James Doyle out of the corner of his eye. And this is the move. He goes up to join him, and he knows the right horse to get to.
Well, he was the horse to beat, probably. But there you go. See, I've been talking about the ground. All these have come up the middle, so maybe I'm talking rubbish. But he did really well, this horse. And Lazat's a pretty useful horse.
Amazing run from old Quinault in third as well. What a super job Stuart Williams has done with him.
Yeah, he's a good horse. Probably better at 7. But I thought Richard Hughes' horse from the half measures ran very well too.
Yeah.
There were 21 5-day entries in that race, and if Sky Majesty had run, then Powerful Glory wouldn't have got in.
Is that right?
Yeah, because the lowest... The lowest rated of the 20 of the 21.
Well, he owes me a drink.
He definitely does.
As Cicero's Gift was, again, the lowest rated competitor in the QE2.
That's a tremendous spot. You are definitely owed one. You were about one of the only defectors from all the races at the 5-day stage.